Freya's dream. In the old days, there was a traveling circus that moved from town to town, bringing wonder and excitement wherever it went. In this circus worked a kind woman as a cleaner. She had a daughter named Freya, who was about 12 years old. Freya helped her mother with her work, sweeping and cleaning the circus grounds and wagons. One day, Freya saw her mother looking very tired and sad. Her mother's face was etched with worry lines, and her shoulders looked heavy with exhaustion. Freya knew that her mother was working very hard just to have enough. Seeing her mother so worn out, Freya felt very sad. She wished she could do something to help her mother and make her life a little better. While working in the circus, Freya met a boy named Thomas. Thomas was a bit older than Freya, and he was a performer in the circus. He rode horses and did amazing tricks while riding. Thomas was always cheerful and full of energy. He and Freya became friends, sharing stories and dreams as they went about their days in the bustling circus. One evening, the circus was preparing for its main show. Freya was helping to set up the stage when she saw something that caught her eye. It was the tightrope walker. He was a man who walked and danced on a thin rope high above the ground. Freya watched, mesmerized, as the tightrope walker moved with incredible grace and balance. The spotlight shone on him, and he looked like he was walking on air. Freya was completely captivated. "Wow," she whispered to herself, "that is the most amazing thing I have ever seen." From that moment on, Freya couldn't stop thinking about the tightrope walker. She dreamt of being like him, graceful and fearless, balancing high above everyone else. She decided she wanted to be a tightrope walker too. Freya didn't have a real tightrope, of course, but she was determined to practice. She started using the railing of the stairs in the circus wagons as her tightrope. It was much lower than a real tightrope, but it was a start. She tried again and again, but it was harder than it looked. She wobbled, she stumbled, and she fell. Many times she lost her balance and tumbled to the ground. One day, while practicing on the stairs, Freya fell very badly. She landed awkwardly and felt a sharp pain in her arm. She had fallen so many times before, but this time it was different. Her arm was broken. She cried out in pain, and her mother rushed to her side, her face filled with worry. Freya's mother helped her back to their small wagon and gently bandaged her arm. As she cared for Freya, her mother spoke in a soft, sad voice. "Oh, Freya, my dear daughter," she said, "life is so hard when you are poor. I work so hard every day to make sure we have enough to eat. But it is never easy. I don't want you to have to struggle like this when you grow up. I will do everything I can to make your life better, to protect you from these hardships." Her mother's words were filled with sadness and love. Lying in her bed with her broken arm, Freya thought about her mother's words. She understood her mother's worries and her desire for Freya to have a better life. But Freya also remembered the incredible feeling she had when watching the tightrope walker. She knew in her heart that she still wanted to try. She didn't want to give up on her dream. That night, when everyone in the circus was asleep and the only sound was the gentle breathing of the sleeping animals, Freya made a decision. She quietly got out of her bed, her arm still in a sling. She tiptoed to Thomas's wagon and gently woke him up. Thomas was surprised to see Freya standing there in the dark. "Thomas?" Freya whispered, her eyes shining with determination. "I need your help. I want to learn to walk on the rope. Will you help me?" Thomas, though sleepy, was always ready for an adventure. He nodded eagerly. Together, they crept out into the quiet circus grounds. They found a thick rope used for the animal shows, and Thomas helped Freya stretch it between two strong posts. It wasn't very high, just a little off the ground, but it was a real rope. Freya stepped up to the rope, her heart pounding. Thomas stood beside her, offering his hand for support. She took a deep breath and placed her foot on the rope. It was wobbly and unsteady. She started to walk, but Thomas holding her hand tightly. Slowly, carefully, she took one step, then another. Suddenly, a soft clapping sound broke the silence. Freya and Thomas froze, startled. They looked around in the darkness and saw a figure sitting in the seats, hidden in the shadows. It was the circus owner. He had been watching them the whole time unseen. The circus owner started to clap slowly, quietly at first. Clap, clap, clap. Then he started clapping faster and louder. He stood up and his clapping grew into a thunderous applause. Freya and Thomas were amazed. They couldn't believe the circus owner had been watching them and that he was actually applauding them. The circus owner approached them, a smile on his face. "That was wonderful," he exclaimed. "Freya, you have real courage and determination. And Thomas, you are a true friend. He offered to help Freya learn properly, arranging for the real tightrope walker to teach her. With the help of the tightrope walker and Thomas's unwavering support, Freya practiced every day. Slowly, surely, she got better and better. She learned to balance, to walk, and even to dance on the rope. Years passed, and Freya's dream came true. She became a famous tightrope walker. Her name was known not just in her own country, but far beyond its borders. Freya became wealthy and successful, just as she had dreamed. She bought a beautiful new house for herself and her mother. It was a big house with large windows, filled with light and warmth. One sunny afternoon, Freya found her mother standing by a window in their new house, looking out at the peaceful garden. Freya walked quietly towards her mother and gently put her arms around her. Her mother turned, her eyes filled with tears of happiness. Freya hugged her mother tightly, knowing that she had not only achieved her own dream, but had also made her mother's life better, just as she had always wished.